Hi everyone, it's Mish here, and today we are going to be doing another week in the Margarete Miller Collage Challenge. So if you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you are returning, thanks so much. If you have been following along with the challenge, you know that I've been working in my Moleskine sketchbook, that I've had to expand the spine, and then it was just getting kind of out of control, so I've ended up just tearing some of the back pages out. If you haven't seen some of the previous weeks, you can check them out. There's some pretty cool ones there. I'm just going to set that aside. I tore the back pages out, and I will fix them in when the challenge is over. So we're on week 39. If you do want to see other people who are doing the challenge, if you just put in the hashtag 2023 CWP39, that's for this current week. Be sure to check some of them out. But today the prompts are a fragrant plant, something local, an animal with long ears, something that makes you happy, something found in the mountains, and bonus is a form. So we'll start with the bonus, the form, because I'm going to use some different forms just for my background. So I have this ledger book. So I took a form. I would say that's a form. So I thought I could use that. I also have a guest check, which again is a form, and a inventory tag. I've got one of those. I have a memory notes index for photographs, where you kind of log your photographs. I have a receipt form. I have a calendar, which would be a type of a form to fill out for appointments. And then I just have a bunch of little forms, prescription form, specimen forms, library card, and whatnot. So I'm not really sure. I didn't really have an idea about what I wanted to do for my background layout. I think I might like a little piece of this, so maybe we'll cut a piece of that. I am doing this a little bit ahead of time, so it's the beginning of September. Today is kind of overcast, kind of dreary day. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And yeah, we the last couple days we've had some really balmy, kind of windy weather, almost kind of like a tropical weather, and probably because we've just had the tail end of a tropical storm, which kind of landed or passed to the south of us. Kind of like that, but that's I don't really like that, but I could cover that up with something, or I could use the back. So maybe we'll get that down, maybe. No, I don't really like that. Yeah, so I think with collage is really anything you want to put together, which is just a group of items. I guess just grouped together. And people do their collage many different ways. There's a surrealism. I've done a few of those. And then there's just trying to do random items, but making it look a little bit cohesive. And sometimes that's the hard part, is making it all the page not look lopsided or kind of odd. I kind of liken that a bit, and then we can layer our bits on top. I am going to leave a space for my prompt. I think I'll do that on that side. And I'm just using some Elmer's glue. It's a good glue just for paper on paper. I don't use too much because it is a water-based glue and it can warp your pages, but for just a small amount, it seems to be holding up pretty well. So I want it kind of that, like that maybe, or maybe up like that. So if you're watching and you're doing the challenge, what are you thinking about it? As in, are you enjoying it? Are you finding it time consuming? I do find it time consuming, that is for sure. And it's not time consuming in actually doing the collage. It's trying to find resources to match kind of the prompts. And I think that's why people do it so differently, because it's so dependent on what resources that you do have, what books you have, what stamps you have, what, you know, washi tapes you have, where you can find your images. And then, of course, it's personal style. I tend to be more of a layout type collage, where, like I said, I've done some surreal, but it doesn't make the bulk of my pages. But at the end of the day, I wanted to create something that when I look back on it next year, or, you know, pull it out or want to show some friends some of the types of things that I do, you know, I wanted it to appeal to myself. So I didn't leave a space, so I think I'll leave a space here. And what I'll do, just in case that sticks, is I'm just going to cut another piece of paper about the size of my prompt sheet. And I can hear the recycling truck outside, so it might get noisy for a minute. Alright, so my prompt would be approximately that big. There it is. So I do apologize. They shouldn't be here too awful long. Okay, I love those inventory tags. I really love them. And a lot of these forums, you're not probably going to be able to see it, but I still like it to put down as a background. Okay, so a fragrant plant. I've gone with rose, because roses, I have roses in my garden and they definitely are fragrant. But I also may add a little bit of this lavender. I've tried, I just actually had to pull up my lavender bush, because it's just not thriving, and I don't know why. I don't have excessive cold, so maybe it's too harsh of a winter. Although last year we never really had a harsh winter. We only had, I think, one kind of cold snap where it got below -35, but in general it was probably like, I don't know, average -10 maybe, and that's not really that cold. But anyway, so I've pulled, I do have some more forms I might use, and I've pulled my roses there and there, and I do have another little rose there in case I want to use that. And then I had some other background paper that has some roses, but I may not use that, I'm not sure. And then something local. So the other day when I went out on my front door, I saw this huge moth, and that's like, that board is like 4 inches. So it's like about that. So that moth was that big. So I took a picture of it with my phone, and then I used my sprocket to print it out just a little while ago. So this is actually a sticker. So I'm going to use that as my something local. And then an animal with long ears. Well, you know, I'm going to go with the bunny rabbit, which I'm sure, you know, probably a lot of people. I thought about different types of animals, but it was resources that this is what I could find was some rabbit. And then something that makes you happy. So butterflies make me happy. So I do have a butterfly kind of specimen. I say that as sort of a Victorian botany animal thing that the Victorians were good at kind of catching and examining and putting on a little pin board. So that's kind of something that makes me happy. And then something found in the mountains. Well, pine trees and coniferous trees are often found in the mountains. And the mountains and the trees and the river streams, that makes me happy too. So this is kind of the prompts, and it was just trying to figure out how I would like to get them down, and if I do want to maybe put some more. I think I do like that, so I'm going to put that as a little bit of a border around my photo. Gosh, they're making a lot of noise outside. I do apologize. I thought they were gone. It's just when you think you're safe to go into the water, along comes something else. Okay, so I'm only making that so that it peeps out. It just adds a little bit of interest, I think. And I thought I would put the flower down underneath that photo. And maybe put a little border on that one as well. No, I don't like that. I think I'm good just to put that down. So I'm going to put the roses down now. And I don't want to get too much ink on that side, because I want to put my prompt there. So I'm thinking like, maybe like that. A little bit over there. Okay, so I'm good with that. And then I wanted to put my butterfly specimens kind of there. That make me happy. So just leave that for a second. And then I want to get this form down. I really love layering a lot of different forms and pictures. And then I think I'll put that down so that I can write a little note about where and when that was taken. But I also wanted to add a couple more little forms. And I wanted to put a field label in there because not only was it a photo, but I was making a field note on it. So I kind of thought that might go there, where I can write my little note, but it might be, here's a smaller one. I could put, yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So I'm going to put this down next, if I can get that adhesive. I do like the sprocket, and it's a great little rig if you are traveling. I've taken it traveling with me a number of times to do, to add a little photo into my little traveler's notebook. But sometimes you just gotta have patience to try to get that back off, like so. Doesn't help that I have some arthritis in my thumbs. I had it there for a second. There we go. So I'm just gonna put that kind of maybe up and over there. So that's my something local. And where it came from, I have no idea. I was going to look it up to see what kind of moth, or I'm sure that's a moth. And then there's my specimen note on my little specimen form. And I got this little butterfly, but it looked just like that. And I was just flipping through my stuff thinking what I was going to use for this layout, and that's when I saw this and I got it. I just got to get it off there. Okay, and then I thought I would just put that kind of there. Okay, and then I want to get down my little rabbit, and maybe I'll put that form there. So we'll get our rabbit down. These little images, these watercolor images, I have a calendar, a daily calendar by Margarete Baston, and oh my goodness, I love her watercolors. I've kind of been getting different things that she's done ever since, oh my gosh, I think like at least the early 90s. I could put my field label there because maybe I've been doing a field note on my observing the rabbits, or I could I don't know, I think I kind of like, I do think I kind of like that. And I can put a stamp there. So I'm going to put this little form down, which details my observation on June 29th, 1932. Peter Rabbit was sitting in the field, and he was getting into my carrot patch. Okay, so let's kind of see what we can do on this side. So I think I'm good with putting, I don't think there's anything I want to slip underneath this, so I'm going to get this down. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that, trying to get it relatively straight there. And then I'm put my, what makes me happy is these butterflies. But I also have this little form here, which I think I might put down underneath there. I don't think I'll use that. And that would cover too much of my roses, so I'm not going to use that, or that, or that. Okay, I think I will put this little form down, kind of below the roses and off to the side a little bit. Like so. And down, so you can see the little memo. Got to write a memo about our day out in the field where we went up into the mountains and we saw some moths and butterflies. We saw the little rabbit in the mountain meadow. We made all our little notes. Okay, so I could put that lavender too, but I think it's getting a bit, let's not do that one. And then I had those, but I think that doesn't really go with like going out in the field and getting some field notes. But I just have some random shapes that I could put in there. But you know, I'm kind of liking how that looks as like a field diary. I could put that, but again, I think I'm happy. Oh, look, I've got this little, oh yeah, I like that. So we can put this little collection label kind of up top there because I'm more interested in the pine tree, which is what I was, which is my prompt. So I'm happy just to stick that down there. And because this is sort of what makes you happy, I did like this little, I did like that, which I think I can put up top there, and then it brings something up in that corner, because I think that corner kind of needs a little something something. And I don't think that, I think if that is too bright, it wouldn't draw your eye around the page enough. But I could put a stamp there, or I do have this little sheet just of random images, and maybe I could put some of these, this little sprig, because it kind of reminds me of pine needles. So maybe I could just put this up to the top. I love going into a pine forest. When we first moved back to Nova Scotia from Chicago when I was little, the house that we were renting until my parents could get our house built, there was a little pine grove beside the house, and oh my goodness, I used to love going there because the ground was all carpeted with the pine needles, and there wasn't a lot of other undergrowth, and the smell was awesome. And I used to love looking for pine cones. I used to think that things like pine cones and acorns and different leaves and things that I would find in the forest were like the best treasures ever. I'm kind of liking maybe that up in the corner, or maybe, oh yeah, I'm going to tuck that underneath there. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit more, and then we'll tuck it a little bit under the side of that label, and then that will bring it together. And then I'll just do a little bit of stamping, and then we'll call this one done. And then we're into, gosh, week 40. It's next week. It'll soon be. I've said this before, I think, but one thing about doing a weekly collage challenge, or maybe a monthly, but I think more so a weekly, is that it definitely marks the passage of time. Yeah, I kind of like that, kind of sticking out from underneath my label. All right, so an ideal, just going to cover my glue, an ideal stamp set is one of my favorites of Tim Holtz, and it's the Field Notes stamps. So I'm going to use just a couple of those. I'm just going to use a stamping block and just my Ranger archival ink pad, which is 1,000,000 years old, but I keep re-inking it and it serves its purpose. So let me get some of this out of the way so it's not so distracting. So what are we going to use? I absolutely love, love, love this. What if we put some numbers on our little form here so that we can, I think this would look good. So off to the side, I also have a little piece of paper that I usually just stamp off just to see what the image is going to look like and what the second generation. So if I want it quite bright, I'll go with the first one. And those are a little bit faded, so I'm just going to go with that bit of faded look. I do love that. And then what else can we use? I'll put that back in a minute. I thought maybe we could stamp something up here. Let me see, received. So we've received this image. So I'm going to put a little, stamp off a little, and then maybe stamp up in that corner. So we've received that. I think I'm going to do the same thing down here too. Okay, so I'm liking that. I'll do over here too. Received in the office. I have submitted my field note observations. Okay. And I just need something up in that corner. Maybe this one here. Maybe this one here. I've already used that one. And I don't really want a butterfly for up there or filed. And I love that bird one, but I don't think I'll use that one. I think I'll use the round one. And then we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that. Okay, we got that into dispatches. And I think I just need something just over here, and then we'll call that we'll call it. I guess, am I going to be Agent 1929? Or form, oh look, that's a form. I think I need a bigger one. Figure, oh yeah, here's a good one. This one just says figure 1, 2, and 3. So I got figure 1, 2, and 3. And then we can, when I make note of it in my report, I'll say figure 1, 2, and 3. Okay, well, I think that's done. We have our fragrant plant, which is our rose. We have something local, which is my little moth that I found on my front step. And we have an animal with long ears. That's our rabbit. We have something that makes me happy. So butterflies make me happy. So something found in the mountains, generally pine trees. And we have a form. So we have lots of forms. And that is my collage for this week. I hope you found a little bit of inspiration and that you enjoyed the layout. If you did, please give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to do that. I do hope you have a safe and happy week. And bye for now.